Hi, I'm Forrest. I'm a healer and an inner child coach, and I want to be your friend. And as your friend, I would really like to give you some information that might change your life. In fact, it might change the way that you view yourself. Imagine that. What I would like to talk about today is how our environment can affect the way that we view ourselves and sometimes even our own worthiness. So here we go. Our environment deeply affects the way that we view ourselves and relate to ourselves as a person. And in the United States, we live in a capitalist society, meaning that our world revolves around capital or money. Living in a capitalist society can distort the way that we view ourselves. I want to give you some examples. So I have a really beautiful friend who makes this amazing art. They're such an artist, if I've ever seen one. They paint, they draw, they're so creative, and they paint every week, if not every day, right? So I told them, I was like, wow, you're such a great artist. And they were like, oh, no, not me. I don't know about that. I don't think I'm an artist. Like, I wouldn't call myself that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You make art. That's what artists do. They make art. And they're like, yeah, but I don't, it's just like a hobby. It's not like I make money off of it. Like, I don't pay my bills this way. And I'm like, oh, so you don't make money making art. Does that take away the fact that you're an artist? So what I've noticed is that a byproduct of living in a capitalist culture, sometimes we, myself included, don't feel worthy of a title just because we're not making money doing that thing. Capitalism distorts our reality, and it creates this framework of like, I have to be at this level in order to have this title. There's a sense of worthiness, like you have to be perfect. And the making money at it would be an indicator that you're at that level. There's this idea of like professionalism. I was a vegan chef at a 5-star Michelin restaurant in Oakland, California. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so insecure. Like, how did I get here? They're gonna find out I'm a fraud. They're gonna fire me. I had all these irrational fears going on in my mind. But in reality, like, I was a chef because I was cooking on the line at this vegan restaurant. And yet, I was in my head thinking, like, I'm not worthy enough to have this job or to have this title. But in reality, I just simply was a chef because that's what they hired me to do. Like, they chose to hire me, So I'm sure you can relate to this. Living in a capitalist world, sometimes our dreams are not profitable. Sometimes you can't put a price on love and community and healing and compassion, right? Like, these are things that are literally priceless. It's not like a can of beans or something where you're like, oh yeah, that's like $1.50. Like, there's some experiences that have no price to them. People often, they have like their day job where they feel kind of disconnected maybe. Like, I've definitely had this experience. Feeling this frustration with the 9 to 5, the capitalist framework, doing a job that you're disengaged with. People often go and work for themselves, like they're entrepreneurs. But I know people who work for themselves who don't call themselves entrepreneurs because they're not making money yet. Well, guess what? It takes time to make money. It's not easy. You don't just like start making money overnight. Sometimes it takes years to start making money. Like, you gotta invest a lot of time and energy and creativity and resources. So, what I just want to say is, like, whether you're worthy of the title of artist, whether you're worthy of the title of chef or whatever, it's not based on money. You could be a chef simply because you love to cook and you cook every day. You make creative meals. You're trying new things. And as long as you enjoy your food, you don't even have to enjoy your food. Like, as long as you're cooking, you're a chef. There's a lot of people who are activists who, like, don't identify that way because they don't feel worthy of it. They're like, oh, but I don't do enough, or I have so much privilege, and da-da-da-da-da. The truth is that activism entails acting to create change. Like, your actions are creating change in the world. It could be as small as, like, listening to someone who experiences some form of discrimination that you don't. If you just listen to them and then use that information and advocate for them so they don't have to, like, put themselves on the line, you're an activist. Activism doesn't have to look like marching in the streets, yelling and protesting in front of big corporations or something. It can look a million different ways. I'm a compassion activist, for example. I build bridges with people who have different opinions as me. Like, look at me, I'm a queer, vegan, trans, polyamorous, you name it. Like, there's a lot of labels that I identify with that maybe some people don't like, okay? That's not my problem. Like, I'm still gonna be friendly with that person. And I'm gonna listen and see, like, where are they coming from? What is their experience? It's not personal against me, but that's a form of compassion activism. If I can snuggle a Trump supporter, we're gonna be connecting on a human level, because who doesn't like snuggles? Snuggles are so delicious, come on. But, yeah, like, it's hard to hate someone that you're snuggling. So, I don't discriminate who I love. I love everybody, even the people that hate me. Because, like, hate is not a fun place to be. So, I'm getting a little carried away, but the point is, there's a million ways to be an activist. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And living in a capitalist world where we hold ourselves to a really high bar in order to, like, call ourselves an artist or anything, sometimes we have these very narrow views of what these labels entail, and it's really constricting. And I find it very liberating just to be like, look, I create change, so I'm an activist. This is the way I do it. This is the way it looks for me. How does it look for you? So, feeling free from these labels really brings me a lot of, like, joy in my life, and I feel like I can be more in the present moment. I'm not, like, using it as a weapon against myself. Like, for example, if I'm making art every single day, if I don't identify as an artist, like, what's going on there? Where is the disconnect, right? Because I am an artist. I'm making art, right? Like, I don't get paid for my poetry, but I write poetry. I'm a poet. And some people might read my poetry and think, oh, God, that's awful. Great, but I'm still a poet because I write poetry. So, the invitation is really an extension of loving yourself, because capitalism profits off of our hate for ourselves. Capitalism often uses fear and self-hate as a way to say, hey, do you want to buy your happiness back? Do you want to buy pleasure? Do you want to buy this and that? Do you want to cover all your flaws? This will make you feel happier. But in reality, like, happiness is within us, and it's a choice that we can make. It's not always easy because we've internalized these messages that we've repeatedly received from our environment, but I'm your friend Forrest here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way, and that I love you. I would like to invite you to share in the comments below, like, what are some labels that maybe you didn't identify with before, maybe you did, but what are some things that are true about you? Are you an artist? Are you a chef? What are some things that you feel passionate about that you do